Hello, hello. I know nobody's here yet, but I'm trying to get set up for an impromptu live. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome. Good to see you. I thought I was so smart. I had myself all set up and forgot I hadn't installed the OBS thing, so I couldn't use my computer or my webcam. So I'm on my phone. We'll see how long the battery lasts. But I had some stitching to do, so I thought I would go live and see if anybody wanted to chat. I had made all, let's see, I had to figure out where my camera is here. Hopefully this isn't too close. I need to get another swing arm. Junk Journals with Gina. Hi, Gina. I'm just going to stitch and chat, and I thought I wanted some company. Finally had some quiet time in the house. Let's see. I need to figure out. Okay, we're going to move the camera just a little bit and see if it's better. If I'm stitching right here, you guys can't see me. Oh my gosh, isn't that a crazy amount of stuff? It's nuts. I wanted to go through my scrap basket and reduce my scraps, and this is what I ended up with. Actually, what I should do is dump all these guys out and then see if I can fill my basket. Isn't that crazy? And my scrap basket is still full. It's like I didn't even make a dent in it. It's nuts. All right, I can already tell I'm going to have to figure out a different place from, oh, maybe I can move my computer on the other side so I can see chat easier. My head doesn't tilt to the left as well as it does to the right. You can't tell I moved you, but I just moved you. I know it is yummy. I love all these different textures, and I thought if I just got to the point of stitching these things together and then I could decide what I was going to do with them later, I could, I did if anybody saw the little, the short make-ahead video I did, I can put these on a book text, I can put them on an envelope, I can sew them to something else, but at least I'll have a start. And they're really flat, so I mean, I can put them on journal pages and they're not going to add a whole lot of stuff. Hi, Liz. Designed by Tunder. Hi. Welcome to my impromptu chat. When my husband said he was going to take off for a few hours, the house was quiet, so hopefully the only noise we're going to hear is Zoe going crazy if somebody decides to walk by. She takes her job as guard duty very seriously. If you are an expert sewer, please don't laugh at my stitching. This is just quick and dirty. This is all scraps of, let's see, this is upholstery fabric. This is some really thin, like you can almost see through it kind of material that I got of a dress so that I could do like fabric flips, and then lace. So I tried to do at least 2 pieces of material and some lace and then just call it good. And I love this idea. Gail Agostini, I'm not sure how to say her name, had this idea to just sit at the TV and put these things together with paper clips. So then I had that part done. I thought, well, that's great, because if I was trying to do that on camera, I would probably be thinking too much. I just put a second knot in that. Okay, and I'm one of those horrible people that uses her teeth to break the threads. Is that bad? That's bad, isn't it? Let's see how many we get done. We'll put them back in the basket. So what is everybody working on? I have a couple commissions that I'm supposed to get finishing, but I really wanted to do at least one live and get out here, get back on track with videos again. No, I'm not sewing the paper to the clip. It's just when I had, wait a minute, let me show you my scrap thing. So I have my humongous, let's see. Okay, this is one of those tubs. Boy, you can't even really see it, from the dollar store. My camera's so low to the thing, and it's just filled with scraps. So then what I do is I've got some fabric and some lace, and I just, while I was watching the baseball game the other night, I just sat there and I cut across some fabric, and I like this one. Let's see, I got to figure out which side my camera's on. Okay, the camera's over here. There we go. I cut this one, and there's some lace. And so while I was watching the ball game, I just did this, and I put the paper clip on it just to hold it together. So then when I was ready to stitch, I just had a whole bunch of them that were ready, and that paper clip could hold them together while I stitched them. because if I stopped, to me, it was like I was taking the effort the wrong direction. If I did this and then I stopped to pick up a needle and thread and sew, it was going to take me longer than just to sit there and do this on a whole bunch of them. And now I can just sit here and sew them together. And then I'll have these things ready when I want to put them in a journal or on an envelope or whatever it is that I want to do with them. I did make a knot there. So this is just going to be like another step of a make ahead. And I might use some of them as they are, or I might like layer them up into something else. I just have so many scraps and I just cannot, I'm bad. I cannot throw these things away. Was chatting with Ann Alba about that. It was like, sometimes the scraps are so small and we think we can't use them for anything, but I might save them and make paper with them someday. Although I did throw away 2 huge bins of paper stuff. Okay, this is really bad sewing. Yeah, I'll glue them to something else. So like, okay, this one's done here. Let's see. Okay. I got to remember there's a delay on the laptop. And then maybe I had some book paper and I could do that. And what else do I have over here? And then maybe I might decide to put a button on it. So I could do that and it would be ready. It's okay. Ask questions. Hi, Joey. And so it's just so that I have something. I love to layer things, but sometimes I get so sidetracked with looking for more things for the layers and a couple things happen. One, I make a gigantic mess all over the island and then I forget to get back to what I'm working on. And 2, I forget that I was supposed to be, maybe just layering up for one envelope and suddenly I'm layering for all kinds of things. So I'm still trying to find the best way. Sidetracked. Yeah, I know. Story of my life is getting sidetracked. But this next week, I have a commission I absolutely have got to finish, and it's for one of the great big juicy jumbo journals. So it's going to take me all week. So I thought, well, if I get this done, at least I won't get them all done today, but I can at least have a lot of these make-aheads done. I'll spend next week on the jumbo journals, and then I have a lot of digital work that I have to do. And it's a different mindset than working with the paper and the fabric. If I'm working digitally, I've just got to be in a different frame of mind. So I like to have a couple days that I can devote to that. Yeah, I love layers too. And I love layers that look like they're really dense, but they don't take up a lot of, space if we're making a journal, because then you get these really fluffy ones. And I don't mind fluffy journals, but not everybody likes them. Ooh, the silk thread does not want to make a knot. I inherited, it was wonderful. I don't know, like 100 spools of thread my mother-in-law gave me that was her mom's thread. So I probably don't want to put it through the sewing machine. Yeah, I do that too, Liz, but I figured I couldn't chat with you guys if I was using the sewing machine. Then you would have to like yell over the sound of the sewing machine, and that wouldn't be so fun. So sometimes I do it with a sewing machine and then I just stitch them all together, but I was trying to figure out something easy that I could do and chat, because I was thinking about it the other day. One of the things I miss most, and maybe depending on your age, it's not that big of a deal, but I'm 61. So I remember when telephones had cords and we used to have to, drag the cord into the closet so that we could chat with somebody. And I miss talking on the phone. This is actually fabric, Joey, but I do hand sew paper sometimes too. And sometimes I'll just go ahead and hand sew all the pieces together. You can do the same sort of a prep thing with paper as you would do with fabric. Really? You don't think it's as loud as you think? I'll have to try that sometime then, because it's faster, but this is nice and lazy and I don't have to think about it too much. The sewing machine, I'd probably be afraid, since I'm not a really good person on the sewing machine, I'd probably be afraid that I'm gonna like sew over my finger or something. You would never yell. Yes, you guys are all so polite and kind. Well, Joey, I'm quick because I'm not trying to make this like permanent. I know there's going to be something else. I'm either going to sew a button on the front, or I'm going to glue like my little, I love to use these with my little images, and then I can glue those on top of that, and then I can glue this to something else. So I know that these stitches just have to hold these little bits of fabric together. So I'm not trying to, I would be totally stuck if I had to make clothes that had to go out in public. I did not do well in home ec in school because my stitching would not hold up. And we had a teacher that was used to like rip things apart in front of us so that you could see how your stitches weren't going to hold up. So I'm kind of intimidated by doing anything that's expected. I mean, I expect my books to hold up, but I'm not going to do clothes. Yeah, Liz, I think if I get I forgot that I had on my list to install the OBS studio so that I could use the webcam and then I could move things farther away from, where I am, and I could use my other mic, which would be better. And then my husband left and I turned on the thing. It was like, oh shoot, I forgot to do all that setup. So I'm back with my phone and I can't use my mic as well with the phone. So we're just going to deal with this today, and then I'll try the sewing machine another day because it would be nice if I could do that. The small images are awesome. I love them too. And what's nice is if you have some graphics that maybe weren't a high enough DPI to be able to do like a 5x7, image or a wallet size picture that you want to put in the journal, you can make these little small prints out of them and they print beautifully. They don't need to have a really large file in order to do that. So did anybody here go watch my video on the reverse image search, and did they find it helpful? I hope. Yeah, fabric collages. When I first got into art, what I did was strictly torn paper collage. That was the only kind of work that I did. And I had been scared away from fabric from my home ec teachers for years. So I was just playing with paper and had so much fun with that. Now I want to get back to that, but I want to combine it with fabric now that I'm not having to listen to a home ec teacher anymore. So I wonder, it'd be really nice if between this and watching the ball game later today, I could get all of these done and I wouldn't have them hanging over my head. But what seems to happen with me is I get something about 2/3 of the way done, and then I put it aside, and then I start something else, and I am the queen of unfinished projects. So many unfinished projects around the place. Because I'm just interested in everything. I see a video and I see, somebody doing something really fun, Joey doing all her great stuff with watercolors, and then it reminds me I haven't done anything with watercolors in a while, so maybe I should get my watercolors out. And then I watch Rosemary do another thing on eco printing, and I'm like, oh man, I've got the freezer full of leaves and flowers. I need to, do some eco printing. So I get sidetracked easily, and I'm grateful for an indulgent husband that lets me do all these different things and not think I'm absolutely insane, which maybe I am, but at least he doesn't call me on it. So what is everybody working on? Joey, do you have a new video coming up this weekend? Is it the weekend that usually you have stuff come out? It seems like I see your premieres then. I think this is a record for the dog. This is like the longest time that Zoe's gone quiet. She must be really tired. She was out watching the bunnies earlier. We have, not that I'm happy about it, but we have bunnies living under the deck. They were really, really cute when we first saw them. And I told Zoe when we first saw them to leave them alone. And for once in her life, she listened to me like the first time I told her to leave it. And so now she and the bunnies have this, friendship going on, and she doesn't chase them anymore. She will chase the squirrels, and she will chase the lizards, and she will chase the coyotes, but she will not chase the bunnies. So they are like eating my garden like crazy. We got to get out there and do some more rabbit proofing. We were out there in the garden this afternoon, and she was just laying in the sun watching the bunnies dance along underneath the deck. So I don't want to kill them. I just want them to move on the other side of the fence, and I will plant things for them to eat on the other side of the fence so that my native garden for the birds and the butterflies can survive. Oh my goodness, 16 years of fabric. Wow. You must have some amazing history stories when you look at the way fabric designs have changed. We ended up with a little quilt store opened up in my tiny town here, and I hadn't been in a fabric store in years. and I couldn't believe the difference in the designs. Oh, wow. Design dresses and some boho cardigans and some painted dresses. That's fascinating. I love painted fabric. Joey, you're going to do an easy painting of flower. Ooh, that sounds good. Flowers are always popular too. Everybody wants to know how to print flowers, how to draw flowers, how to paint flowers. Joey, get you to a thrift store. I did not buy any fabric except for some Tim Holtz fabric at the fabric store. I go to the thrift store and buy all my fabric there. Once in a while, there's actually fabric on the shelves, but usually it's I'm buying dresses that have neat patterns and lace. We're in a beach town, so there's lots of like lacy cover-ups. And I think it's more interesting to go to the thrift store and get the fabric because it's, you're not pulling the same thing off the bolt that maybe, everybody else in another fabric store is doing at the same time. Same thing with those of you quilters that have, fabrics from a long time ago. You've got stuff that nobody's seen for a while, which is going to be so much fun to work with. When I first started looking for fabric, I wasn't, I just sort of like I was attracted to a pattern and I bought stuff and I didn't really pay attention to what I was going to do with it. Now I know there's certain things, like I'm always looking for any kind of vintage lace, which we don't really have that much of. Cotton lace because it dyes really nicely. Anything that is satiny or silky. I'm always looking for lightweight materials that you can like see through because they make really neat journal flips. Joey, I hear you would change from buying books. To tell you a book story. So where we live in Scotts Valley, it's we're right near the city of Santa Cruz, which is the beach town. And we moved here about 4 years ago, and we used to live on the other side of the mountain in San Jose, which was about a half an hour drive depending on traffic. And our idea of a date night for 20 years was to drive over to this side of the hill to go to this wonderful, wonderful used bookstore called Logos that just had the most eclectic collection of old books and magazines and records and sheet music. And oh my gosh, we would just, that was our thing. We would come home with a bag full of books. And then they also would take books in on trade. So when there were books that we didn't want anymore, we could take them over there and trade them in. So fast forward, 20 years later, we move over on this side of the hill, buy a house, move over on this side of the hill. And I'm like looking forward to going to Logos all the time. And they went out of business. I was like, no fair. Now they're not here for me to shop at all the time. But we did score a lot of really great things when they were going out of business. It'll take me years to go through all of those books. See how prepared I was? I actually threaded a bunch of needles ahead of time so that I didn't have to try and thread a needle on camera because I'm not so sure that I'd be so good at that. 3,000 squares of Tim Holtz. Oh my goodness. I lucked out like maybe the second or third time that I went into this little quilt store and they had the Tim Holtz, the stuff with all the bugs and butterflies on it. And I was able to get a little bit of that and a couple of other Tim Holtz fabrics, but most of their fabrics in our local store, she's a modern artist and she does all these beautiful big, I mean, the prints on the fabrics are really huge. They're like, I don't know, 6-8 inches across, and they don't translate well, in my opinion, to the bookmaking. I want something that's more of a smaller print. So yeah, where is everybody today? So we have Joey and Tunder in England. Jennifer, Gina, where are you guys? I'm in very hot and sunny California. I'm kind of in central California. I think we finally had our last rain, so we probably won't have any more rain until around November. Ireland. Oh, my mother-in-law's family is from Ireland. They go back to visit every so often. Hot, hot, hot Florida. Yeah. I have been to Florida a couple times when I lived in Louisiana. I don't think I would last in Florida very long. Of course, I didn't last in Louisiana very long either. North Carolina. Whereabouts in North Carolina? Shoot, I'm trying to remember if my friend is in North Carolina or I think she's in North Carolina, and I can't remember the name of this. Solomon Springs, maybe. Hi, Julie from Canada. Welcome. Glad you're here. We're just chatting because I miss the old days when I used to be able to chat with my friends on the phone after school. Even my kids don't like to talk on the phone. They want to text all the time. They don't want to talk on the phone. That was such a treat, you guys. You don't know what you're missing if you're young. Such a treat to be able to have phone time. So Julie from Canada, what do you like to work on? What are you working on now? Anything in particular, or are you just kind of exploring stuff? Party lines, absolutely. And when you would accidentally pick up the phone and somebody else would be talking and they were talking about somebody you knew, and you're supposed to hang up the phone and you didn't. No, I never did that. Joey, fabric scraps are so perfect for pockets. Be awesome if you guys could connect. And I still remember we didn't even have full phone numbers. It was like MU888 was my grandmother's phone number. And that was all you needed. You didn't need anything else. Sometimes you would just, you pick up the phone and say, had to say where you were. How did it work? You had to say who you were calling in order to get through. I don't remember. All I remember is one year for my birthday, like the best birthday present ever was I got a 50-foot cord for the phone so that I could then take the phone all the way from the kitchen into my bedroom. And it was such a treat because then my mom and my grandmother couldn't listen in on me talking to my boyfriend. Joey, I can't wait to see what you do with fabric. I know what you do with paper is phenomenal. So seeing what you're going to do with fabric is going to be really fun. Ah, Julie, that's on my calendar, digitals. If I finish my commission next week, then I've got to get going on my digitals. I've got a bunch of stuff sketched out that I want to work on. And it's a different, I can't work on fabric and paper and then like within the same hour go over to working on digitals. I just have to like wake up in the morning and say it's a digital kind of day. So how the focus, is it okay with the focus on this? Because I don't really have much control, I realized, on the phone. I'm just letting it do its thing. And I forgot to look at when I was starting. Oh, I can see. Ah, it tells me. Okay. It tells me up there. This is only my second live stream, so I'm still getting a handle on all of that. So what is your favorite kind of ephemera to make? Anybody have a favorite? Something they go to all the time? I have so many printouts that right now I'm going crazy making journaling cards. Tons and tons of journaling cards. But I don't know that that's my favorite kind of thing. I guess my favorite thing is whatever I'm working on at the moment. So right now I'm fabric crazy, and these are a favorite. Ah, did not make a very good knot. Yeah, if I was doing these on the sewing machine, then I would just stitch one right after the other. I wouldn't even bother to stop to cut them apart. Oops. This is some really, some of the spools of thread I got from my mother-in-law is silk thread, and it breaks in my sewing machine, so I can't really use it there, but it is so beautiful to stitch with. Wow. I just realized I do not have live chat going. I have top chat. So if I have missed somebody, I am sorry. Soggy, Iowa. Hi, Lori. Oh dear, wet and soggy, but hopefully safe. No tornadoes and storm wreckage and things like that to deal with. We were very soggy this winter here in California. This is probably the most rain that we've had here in this area for a lot of years. I love doing little booklets, little things like that that you just have ready to tuck into a project or into a gift box or something. Let's see. I'm trying to stick with my light thread things. Oh, good, Lori. I'm glad to hear it. So what are you working on lately, Lori? Anything in particular? I'm in never-ending use up my scrap mode. I wonder if anybody ever gets to the end of the line and says, that's it, I'm done. I've got no more scraps left. I know some people really throw things away. You know, they wouldn't keep scraps this small, but I mean, this doesn't look like very much like this, but really, once you put the picture with it and you add the button, then it's a lot more exciting, right? I have been good though. I have not gone to a thrift store in, I don't know, probably 2 months. I have not brought anything new into the house in 2 months, but my mom said she just sent me a box of stuff and there's always goodies for junk journaling in that. Oh, Gina, a month. Yeah, I have days like that too. I have months like that where I don't finish and I look at people that are, you know, whipping things out so fast. And I guess that's kind of why I started the make-aheads is I'm slow. I'm very slow. I learned after 30 years of writing that going fast was not my style. I needed to learn how to enjoy the process of whatever it was that I was working on. And so finally with art, that's kind of what I have done is I've just told myself, you're not in a race with anybody. You know, when I was in my 20s, my 30s, even my 40s, I had that kind of a drive just to work super fast and really, you know, really try and get, you know, as much done as possible. I was working on quantity, not quality, and I forgot to enjoy the ride. I just it's at my age, it's just not worth it to me to go that fast. You know, I probably won't live long enough to use up all the stuff I have in this house. And my poor husband will have to deal with it, but he already knows, call this friend and she'll come and get everything. Yeah, Gina, it's a great way to use up scraps. And like I said, I really like getting them at this level because now you can go do anything with them. Put them on an envelope, put them on a page, put them on another bigger piece of fabric, put it on a pocket, put it on the cover of a booklet. You know, and it's a great way for me to use up a lot of different colors too, because I find I tend to go to earth tones all the times. And then suddenly I'm working on a project and I need, you know, some yellows or I need some reds. And if I do this, at least I have a few things set up in those colors. Gina, yeah, it takes a while to get to that point where we understand, just enjoy the journey. And it's great. I admire the other generations that have the drive to do those sorts of things. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying this because this is what I wanted. I just want to chat with folks. Maybe over time I will get better at doing a lot of things live. I don't know. It's funny. I used to do public speaking all the time with my writing, and that was not a problem. And I'm not standing up on a stage with you guys. You're just watching my hands, but it feels different. So it's just, you know, I got to get used to it. So I did actually plan for this all week because I knew my husband was going to be going off for allergy shots. I would have a quiet house except for when the dog goes crazy. Whoops, another one wasn't very well knotted. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out, I don't know that I can set a regular schedule for when to chat. I wish I could. My husband works from home a lot of the time and our house is small. So, boy, this does not want to stay knotted. So voices carry. Either my voice would carry into his meeting or his meeting voice would carry over into our conversations. But I might see what I could work out. Oh, well, I don't know. We're going to change needles here. Might be nice to have a set time. I guess we're going to actually go see if I can thread a needle on camera. Ha 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 ha. Hey, Laura. Glad you could join us. Hope you're doing well today. We're just chatting and talking. Trying to think of more things like, oh, hey, look at that. First time through. Surprise. Oh, Gina, I'm so glad you're having fun with those. I love to go searching for images, and I've done that for, I don't know, many years before the internet was really crazy with everybody else out there. And when I used to do websites for people, I used to do website design, and I always loved going out and looking for just the right image for them and finding things for them. So I'm glad now that I've got another reason to share my love of research with people and help them find things. I've got many more places to take you guys. Oh, Laura, you guys are welcome. There's two schools of thought. There's the people that think, okay, I have this knowledge and I'm going to keep it to myself, and somehow that's going to make me special. And then there's the people that say, I have this knowledge and I'm going to share it because that way we all get to be special. And Joey's like that. I mean, do you guys see how much stuff Joey shares in her live streams? Carla, those of you that watch Caged Fish, I mean, people that share knowledge, Tracy Fox, she shares knowledge all the time. And that's what it's all about as far as I'm concerned. It's connections. The internet is a wonderful way for us to connect with people all over the world. And okay, I was back with 24 baud modems when we had dial-up modems to connect with people and chatting with writers all over the world. That was just like, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. That you could talk with people all over the world about something that you were interested in. So now we have this chance to do these videos and Skypes. I used to do Skype conference calls with other writers. And I was chatting with my husband about that last night, about some way so that we could all talk. So you guys didn't have to type. So we could all just chat and, just do like a live conference call every so often. So he suggested I check out something called Discord, which I have not gone to look at yet, but because that way we can all, somebody has a question, you can ask it in the chat, and probably somebody has experience with whatever it is you're trying to do. My big project right now is we changed computers a couple times with the move, and I lost some stuff, and I'm setting up my newest computer with Lightroom, which used to be set up just fine, but it was before I was worrying about doing things with digital images for people. And now I want to catalog my hundreds of thousands, I guess probably 1 million images into Lightroom, give them all keywords and that kind of stuff so that I can more easily share them and build my digital kits. Yeah, Laura, there's something that gets lost in the typing. And plus, if we were just all like in a live chat where we were all just talking, or, somebody was doing something. My husband said you can share on Discord, you can all share videos, or some people talk and some people share videos. I don't know, I'll check it out. But if we were all talking, then you guys would not have to worry about typing and then going back to what you were doing. We could all be working on whatever our art project is at the same time. I don't know. I kind of like the idea like an old-fashioned quilting bee, where you can just get together with your friends and talk about, yeah, the dog was barking in the middle of the night and I didn't get any sleep, and my kid brought home straight A's, and get to know each other better, because anything that we're doing here with the art is building a connection, and building a connection from one person to another can never be a bad thing. I mean, that's what I tried to do with my books, is to connect with the reader. And that's what I hope I'm doing with my art. It's what I do with my native garden here in the neighborhood. We bought this house that had nothing growing in it except for some old oak trees. And I mean, there weren't even any worms when you dug a hole. There was no worms in the dirt at all. And there was a big old giant batting cage, and the kids used to ride their dirt bikes. I just had a different lifestyle. And so over the last 4 years, we've been planting native plants and different things designed to bring back the wildlife, including the bunnies that are eating everything. And it's so much fun to see people that have lived here in the neighborhood for 30 years come by and say, how much they love seeing what we're doing with the yard and seeing it come back to life. And suddenly there's flowers and there's birds and there's butterflies. And I have tortoiseshell caterpillars in my ceanothus right now, which is just an awesome thing because they haven't been seen in this area for a long time, but we planted their host plant and now they're coming back. And so that's a connection I'm making with people that care about nature in this area and throughout the area. My original YouTube channel was actually going to be about native gardening. And I've been trying to figure out how to maybe set something up so I could just like sit out in the garden and you guys could look at the flowers and we could chat. But that might be boring to sit for an hour and chat and just look at flowers rather than me doing something. Hi, Nancy. Oh, Tornado Alley. Have you guys had problems? Laura, you don't think that would be silly to sit out there in the garden and chat? Nancy, did you get hit with tornado? Okay, I need to remember to water my throat. Hey, Vicky. Thanks for stopping in. That's true. We all like the botanicals. I just want to be able to chat. And I like I said, I miss the idea of just getting together and chatting with things. If I could figure out a way to do it so everybody could talk and you wouldn't have to type, I think more people would talk as well. So for an impromptu gathering, I am very happy to see so many faces here and some new faces and people chatting about what's going on. So Vicky, are you still working on little books or what are you working on now? Iowa has no bugs? How is that possible that you have no bugs? Wow, no bugs. I can't imagine that. We have a fair amount of bugs here. Oh, Gina, that's fabulous. Wow. Local fortune teller. See, now that you wake up my writer self. And I'm like, oh man, I want to know more about this story. And I have to tell myself, no, I'm not doing that now. But that's fascinating. So are you still quilting, Gina, or have you kind of set that aside now and you're working with journals, or are you going back and forth? Laura, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you popped over. Purple Moon Flower. Okay, so several tornadoes last week, but they missed you. I'm glad they missed you. It's so scary. Lori, they spray that corn? Oh, the corn that you guys grow in Iowa, they spray all the time with all the other icky stuff. Okay, I won't go there. I'm an organic gardener. I rely on my bugs to do all the work for me. So my ladybugs and my lizards and my snakes, they take care of all the critters for me. That is bizarre. No bugs anywhere. Oh, a bee journal. Are you going to post a picture of it? You're going to do a video flip? Gosh, I love anytime I see a bee book. I'm fascinated. I just posted on my Instagram today. I posted a short little video in my stories about the bees in my poppies because I just go out there and just stand out there. Getting rid of ants without chemicals. Wow. Probably the only thing that I would do, it's chemical, but it's a natural chemical, is diatomaceous earth. However you say that. I'm not saying it correctly. We had to use that in San Jose a lot, but I don't have any ants here. I mean, I see them in the garden, but I don't have huge problems with them. Like I said, my critters, we don't have chickens, but chickens would take care of that for us. So Vicky, are you watercoloring first on your doodles, or are you doing the doodles and then adding the watercolor to them? Only your second bee journal is only your second journal too. Hats off to you on that. My first 20 journals I wouldn't have given to anybody. I tend to when I make a mistake in something, I make the same mistake like 3 or 4 or 5 times. Watercolor first and then you do the doodles. That's awesome. I love all your doodles. Ah, so you've left quilting aside now and you're hooked on the junk journals. But yeah, everything that you did with quilting, you can apply, and your color theory and all that stuff is the same. So you bring a wealth of knowledge already to junk journaling. Or see, I personally, I have to say, I hate the term junk journaling, and I don't call any of my books junk journals because, well, I don't use junk to make them. I guess for me, a true junk journal would be if you're making it out of junk mail and stuff that you would throw away. But if you're recycling things, and it's a junk journal, I guess, but I tend to not do that anymore. So my books are handmade books and handmade journals, not necessarily junk journals. Yeah, Julie, I don't know about the borax. I would do some research on that one too. Laura, that's what I do. I call them handmade books, handmade journals. I do not use the term junk. I'm trying to get away from all my pre-made things. I have a stack of scrap paper, and then a friend gave me more scrap paper. And so I made a bunch of envelopes to use some of it up. And then I'm going to, if I get my commission done this week, I'm going to do a bunch of jelly printing on some of it so that I can at least get some painted papers out of it. But I'm trying to get to the point where I'm only using, like, the fabric that I get is stuff, clothes that I recycle from the thrift store. And papers are going to be papers that I make myself. But I sure would like to use up enough stuff that I had maybe a few empty shelves in my studio. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, or at least in the fabric closet. I could not buy any more fabric right now because there is literally no place to put it. So once the commission gets done, I'm not taking any more commissions for a while. I want to finish the digital so the shop gets launched on that, and then I want to start doing some scrap packs. Gina, it's the way you're going to feel about yourself when you make something, I think, and if you call it a junk journal and then you're showing it to somebody else and you say, this is my junk journal, excuse me, and they might give you a funny look, and then you might start to feel differently about what it is you're working on, even though it's a beautiful book that you've made. So I think you have to call yourself a professional maybe before you are of that caliber, just so that you change your whole personal attitude about, the stuff that you're making. Laura, I'm so addicted to going to the thrift stores. I tell you, if I can set up such a way that I can resell a lot of the fabric stuff that I'm not going to use or that I have too much of, I'm going to be going thrifting all the time to buy fabric and lace. And I'll keep a little bit for myself and then turn around and sell some more of it. More water. It's allergy season, of course, but I cannot, now that we finally have some nice weather, I cannot close the doors and windows. I want them open. I want to hear my chimes. I want to hear the birds. Purple Moonflower, you are very welcome. I'm glad you're finding those videos useful. It's so much fun to share the sites with, somebody else that really gets excited about them. Because I can tell my husband, oh, look at these really cool things that I found on this site. And he's like, that's nice. He just doesn't get into it nearly. I mean, he's happy that I'm happy, but of course he doesn't get the same amount of enthusiasm. Okay, I'm filling up my basket a little bit. I'm making progress. We'll see what I can do while the game's on tonight. Vicki, you are going to love those. Oh, Lori, please do plug your new store. Vicki, I love those boxes. I'm going to order some more real soon myself. Lori, is your a new digital store or physical products or both? Tell us all about it. You might have to just give the name. I'm not familiar enough. I know I would have to make somebody a mod in order to share a link. So give the name and tell us how we can find you so people can track you down. Or do they just go to your YouTube? Do you have a YouTube channel? Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that my husband is so indulgent because I'm super excitable. I mean, if I fall in love with something, I'm just like I'm all in right there. I want to tell you all about it. And I usually try to wait until we're driving somewhere because then I've got like this trapped audience and he'll turn the music down and he'll let me rant about whatever wonderful thing is going on. And then he just smiles and looks at me and he says, "Are you happy?" I say, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, that's the most important thing. You're happy." I said, "Well, what if I do this digital shop thing and it completely flops?" He's like, "It's not going to flop." He said, "It's a good thing to do and good things are supposed to be done and you should be doing more good things." So I'm very, very lucky. Your digitals and handmade journals. So, okay, Etsy store weeds and oh, Lori, why did I not know you were weeds and seeds? I totally blanked out on that. People, you need to go check out Weeds and Seeds on Etsy. Lori Carter's Etsy store. She has got some beautiful things in there. Absolutely beautiful. I actually took a screenshot of something in there just the other day because I wanted to remember what it looked like. Wow. And a Facebook store, Weeds and Seeds. Gina, that's awesome. I'm so glad you have a supportive spouse too. It's just, the world would be a better place if we all had supportive, significant others in our lives, I think. I feel bad for people that don't. I have a friend who has a friend whose husband's like, why are you wasting all your time, and money spending, doing all this stuff that nobody wants to buy and nobody's going to be interested in. I have family members that maybe don't understand why I'm so crazy about some of the stuff I do, but they don't at least negatively, I don't say anything negative about it. I did have an ex-husband, however, that was not real supportive, but that's why he's an ex-husband. Laura, yeah, and I have it saved. When I do a screenshot of anybody's, things for inspiration, and in case it's something that I'm going to make and want to share, I always save the photo with the name of the shop or the person that I got it from. So it's saved as Weeds and Seeds. So now I'm going to go back there and make a note that Weeds and Seeds is Lori Carter. I just, for some reason, did not make the connection. So let's see. If you go, let me try this. If I go to, oh, good, I didn't lose my channel there. So Lori, do you have your store listed in your about page on YouTube, on your YouTube channel? Because that's another thing to do. Anybody else have an Etsy store? Vicki, is yours open yet? It's a great time to let people know what you're up to and how they can go buy things to support you. I had the nicest comment from somebody the other day on, I think it was on the reverse image search video that I did, that she said that watching my videos on the image search then was going to make her feel more confident about shopping at my Etsy store. And that just made me feel really good. Oh, it's empty right now. Okay. Hey, Text Judy. Well, Laura, you have a YouTube account because that's how you're logged into chat here because I just went over to it. So, okay. Liz for a day, tell us about your store. Tell us so we can all go support you. Vicki, you must be building up lots of stock then that you're going to get in there all at once, right? Oh, and getting ready for a live stream too. Awesome. Oh, Liz, you did this last time too that I did this, huh? You were getting ready for your live stream before mine. I'm sorry. This was the time my husband finally left the house for allergy shots and I had quiet. Okay, so Gina has an Etsy store called Smudge Warts. Okay. Oh, that's awesome that you've sold everything that's in it. And Catherine, you are filming your Etsy River City Booksmith. Oh, I love that name. That's perfect. Ah, gotcha, Lori. Liz is on Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and she has such a fun live stream. I really enjoyed the one of yours that I was at, and I need to see if I can schedule some more in there. It's usually dinner time around here. Liz is Pleasant Creations Company. She's got a full Etsy store. You will get so inspired by looking at what Liz has. So Vicki, is your Etsy store going to be Messy Table Studio also? I mean, a store. You already have it. Julie, the Old Design Shop. Yes. Yes, we love the Old Design Shop. Another place for some great, great images and great ideas. The needle does not want to be rethreaded. So one thing on my list to make is pin cushions, because my pin cushion is not actually a pin cushion here. This is a dog toy that Zoe didn't want to play with, and it was about the right size and shape to have my needles in. So I suppose I need to make pin cushion or two. Does anybody else have any regular live streams that they want to share? I love that it's such a supportive network here. I know, Erin. You know, you make do with what you have around the house. When I thought I was going to be able to use the webcam and I was trying to figure out how to situate it at the right angle, I actually had it clipped to the top of a very tall wine bottle to get the height right. You know, you make it work. Thank you, Vicki. Vicki is the thumbs up queen. She asks so politely, and people always respond, and all us YouTubers are very, very grateful for thumbs up, because, you know, that's one of the way that YouTube says, oh, people actually like what they're seeing here. You can thumbs up people, you can leave comments with people, you can interact with people, you can share their videos. All those things you do really help people look better with YouTube. Laura, right now it's looking like every other Fridays. I need to figure out if there's a day of the week that my husband is actually going into the office so that it would be quiet enough. And I need to look at the schedule that Carrie was keeping and see if there are a lot of people doing it. I don't know if anybody else is keeping a schedule of who's who, but I know Carrie Love has a schedule of a lot of the old regulars. Like, I would not go during Carla's time frame. I would like to, I'm thinking about maybe trying to go on at like around 10 o'clock California time, because that's about the time we turn off the TV and my husband disappears into his office to play video games, and it would be a good time for me to live stream at least for like an hour before I headed off to bed to read. So if I get a time settled down, Laura, I'll let you know. But maybe you could just let people know they could subscribe and they'll get notified when I go live. So I should take bets and see if I can actually finish these tonight while I'm watching the ball game. That's probably not going to be possible, is it? Because it's a really big stack, isn't it? Oh my goodness. But that's okay. So is anybody doing anything exciting this weekend? We're supposed to have nice weather. Well, the hot weather is starting, so I think we'll probably be out there pulling weeds tomorrow. Wednesdays seem sort of empty in the evenings. Okay. That's good to know. Julie, the Etsy shop is up. I don't have it stocked yet, but it will be Poppiness, Poppiness, and it's there now. I had it on vacation when we moved, and now that I'm moving into doing the digitals there, that's what will be up there. You can also go to my Poppiness website, and you can subscribe to my newsletter there, and that'll let you know when the shop opens up. So it's just poppiness.com, Poppiness. Tried to do, too many things at once, and I was really excited. I was going to just put the whole shop on my website and just bypass Etsy completely. And then I discovered the joy of the VAT charges. And I spent weeks researching that, and Tracy Fox gave me a lot of great information about it. And I talked to a bunch of people, and I thought, that's just no way that I want to deal with collecting VAT from all these different countries and then paying VAT to all these different countries. So then I decided to leave my web shop on my website to be just for the physical items for the United States. And then I would set the Etsy shop up for digitals worldwide. And that seemed to be the best sense. So Aaron, you are going to be in the passenger seat on your way home from Florida this weekend. Oh, we are now hitting tourist season here in my little community. So we hesitate to drive over the mountain to the other side where my in-laws live very often, but we are going to go over there on Sunday because boy, once people start driving over the mountain, they forget how to drive, and there's so many accidents. And while we're up in the mountains, the sound carries up to the freeway, from the freeway up to our property, and we can hear the sirens going, and I'll look on the SIG alert and see just the horrible, horrible accidents from people not paying attention and thinking they can drive too fast over the mountain. Hi, Anne. So happy to see you. Lori, that is it's not a sales tax, it's a use tax that's in the, if you're selling, if you're in the United States, well, if you're anywhere and you're selling to any place in the European countries, they charge this VAT fee. And so, yeah, it's a tax, and it's hard. I am in California, Aaron, Central Coast, California, near Santa Cruz. And so the VAT fees are just crazy. They can be like 15, 20%. And if I was doing it on my own, I would have to collect that fee from each of the, like if I sold to somebody in Ireland and I sold to somebody in England and I sold to somebody in New Zealand, I would have to collect different fees from all those places. And then I would have to pay those taxes to those countries. And I thought, oh, the bookkeeping was nuts. So with Etsy will collect the VAT for you, and they will pay the countries for you. And you don't have to do anything extra. They just tack it on when the people order from you. But that's why I decided I could not do the digitals from my shop on my website, because it was just going to be insane. So Aaron, you're going from Florida to where? Oh, Vicky, yeah. So I'll be doing Etsy. I've got the shop up and it's open, but there's nothing in it right now like yours. I think it's open. I don't think I left it on vacation. But Etsy was just the only way that made sense for me to be able to be legally correct. And I know there's people that are probably doing it and not following all the rules, but I'm a super little rule follower, and it's enough to deal with my sales tax here in California. You know, I know how to deal with that and how to collect it and how to file it. So that's a long drive, Aaron. Oh, kids and long car drives. Yeah. When my kids were little, we used to drive from Northern California to Oregon several times a year, and and often with a dog. That was a long drive. 21 hours. Wow. Wow. I have driven from California to Louisiana and Louisiana to California, or California to Virginia and then Louisiana to California by myself in the car, and never ever want to do anything like that again. Kind of boring without the kids. Oh, babies, kids that used to be babies and they're not anymore. My oldest is going to turn 40 next month. That does not seem possible. And my baby's going to be if he's going to be 40, she's going to be 37. And my grandson's going to be a sophomore in high school next year. Time goes too fast. So tell me, people, besides finding more places to go look for free images, what kind of videos do you want to see? I'm trying to build my list so that I can do some variety. I'm going to do make-aheads. I want to do like a make-ahead every week and and I'll do more places to go look for images. Hi, Patricia. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you here. But let me know what other kind of videos you'd like to see. I was thinking about filming me working on this next big jumbo journal and seeing if I could film the entire process. Oh, Laura, I am so jealous. When my son years ago started doing that and just calling just to say hi, the first few times he did it, I was like, I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's like you need money, you were in a car accident, something happened. And he's like, no, I just wanted to see how you were doing. When your children become adults and have those conversations, it's so nice. Newcomer, Patricia. Well, this is only my second live stream, so I'm kind of new to doing this too, not to doing videos, but to doing lives. Glad to have you. Are you working on anything exciting at the moment, or are you just kind of cruising around looking for ideas? I want to know how people who manage to watch a lot of videos, go to a lot of live streams, do their own videos, do their own live streams, how the time life balance does not work for me. I don't do that very well. And I'm just trying to use up all those scraps that you and I love so much. Getting a head start on my little FabDangles here. Thank you, Erin. I appreciate you stopping by. It was lovely to chat with you, and safe travels this weekend. And what are you working on right now? I loved your latest batch of eco prints. They were just beautiful. You got some really nice color. Does anybody else do this? You start looking at the little scraps. It's like, oh yeah, this was from a sheet. This was from a shirt. This was from a tablecloth. I love knowing the history of all that stuff. Oh my goodness. So you're a grandma of twins. Wow. Congratulations. But yeah, that would be hard to have them that close in close quarters like that for so long. Liz, yeah, not having cable would make a big difference. My thing is my husband likes to watch a lot of TV and I enjoy it too. It's our kind of de-stress time, but he has a very stressful job, so he needs to de-stress in the evening. So I need to find more things that I can do while that TV is going because I can't work with headphones. I can't deal with anything over my ears. Oh, Julie, I was going to do a thing on my whole camera setup and what I do, so that's a good idea. Thank you. That was your first time, Anne? You did great. And Julie, I'm just using my Samsung phone to do this. I have a webcam, but I forgot to install the right program so that I could do the live stream with the webcam. But most of the time, I'm just doing my videos with my phone because it makes it so dang easy. File folder, lapbook, pocket thing not going well. Oh dear. I saved a couple of the Amazon boxes that finally came in the right shape. I don't know if you saw Tracy Fox did that great little folder portfolio thing. And that was the kind of one that I was going to take a riff on, but I haven't. Commission. Get the commission done. Be done with commissions for a while. Then I will have more time to do other stuff. When something's not going when something is not going well, what do you do? Do you guys keep going at it or do you put it aside and start a new project? I tend to start a new project, which is why there are so many unfinished projects around here. Oh, Gina, I didn't know you had done some lives. That's awesome. I will have to watch for you too. Okay, Patricia. The lives are actually a lot easier than I thought they were going to be, except that I do want to do the webcam just because that way it leaves my phone free for other things. I did have a phone call I was kind of sort of expecting, and I thought, well, too bad for you. It wasn't a personal call. It was a business call that was an irritant. So it can wait until Monday. I'm okay with that. That's great, Laura. That's a good attitude, maybe. Then you have that sense of accomplishment when you actually finish something. My trouble is, and I've had this problem all my life, is if I see something, I assume that if I throw myself at it enough times, I am going to be able to figure out how to do it. Now, there's some things over time that I have figured out I am not going to ever learn how to do, like how to sing well. Cannot sing, cannot hold a tune at all. But for years, I was convinced that if I just kept doing it enough, that I would get better at it, but that was not the case. But in most cases, I'll look at a project and I don't tend to look at how complicated it is. It's just like, oh, I want to do that, so let's start. And then I dive in and I realize how complicated it really is and how many skill sets the person doing it had. And then I get very frustrated with myself because it's like, wait a minute, you know better than this. You know these people have been doing this for years. Why do you think you can do it right off the bat? So I'm getting a little better at it as I get older and saying, wait, stop. Are you really willing to put in the time to learn how to get good at this? And if not, then let it go. Like drawing faces, I stink. I could get better at it. I have artist friends that tell me you just don't want to put in the time. And I realize that's what it is I do not want to put in the time right now. Oh, yeah. Tracy's nature kits are just absolutely amazing. It is play. I went to art when I was writing because it was a good way to combat writer's block. And I was trying to figure out how to, I just needed something else to do. When I first started writing, I would go to the piano and I'd hit writer's block. I would go to the piano for an hour and then I'd go back to writing and I would figure out whatever was going on with my plot. And then I would run into the piano again. I go back and forth. And so when I didn't have a piano anymore, I needed something else to do to kind of, break my block. And that's when I started doing torn paper collage. But I still look at a project and it's like, I should be able to do that. I should be able to figure that out. So Vicky, do you dive into something then and just what happens if you hit a roadblock? You just keep working, just throwing yourself at it until you figure it out? I guess that's what's so great about YouTube is that when I hit a roadblock artistically, there are so many people out there doing videos on how to do whatever it is I'm trying to figure out that I can usually work my way through it. Play is so important. Oh, Laura, thank you. You've been such a great supporter ever since I started this journey. And I'm just so grateful for you and everybody else that supports me. I have suffered, as I'm sure many of us have, the dreaded compare game, and comparing whether it's something you make or something you do or how fast you do something. And I did it with my writing as well. And, it's not good. It's never good to do that compare game. And art, I'm trying to just enjoy the process and not, that's why I was really hesitant to do anything about a store for a long time, because then you fall back into the trap of, do I have something to sell? Then I had a whole bunch of custom projects and it was like, and then I had a lot of materials. So I have materials to get rid of and I have, one project led to another project. So we'll try it. But if I get too caught up in the sell, I'll scale back and just going back to creating. There's so many projects I want to work on, so many nature projects I want to do, but I have to finish my commitments first. Yeah, there's always the trash can. I just, went through a huge stash of old papers that I had jelly printed and thought they were horrible. And, of course, when you look at some things after a passage of time, they're not nearly as bad as you think they were. So there was something that I could do to them. Laura, yes. Carla is so great about just, stressing the play Find the play value in it. Everybody needs play in their lives. And I worry about people that don't have play in their lives. Oh, Georgia, shoulder surgery. Ouch, ouch, ouch. I have thus far avoided that, but oh, I hope you are healing well. Plan C is gesso. Yeah. Don't you love it? Gesso covers everything. What I did with these jelly prints that I wasn't that crazy about is I just started taking lace and sheer fabrics and stitching over bits and pieces of them. So I was like doing fabric collage on top of the jelly prints. Oh, Karen, lovely. I am a poet as well. Yeah, and it's you got to let go of it and just, post for the sake of sharing. This is what I did, and it went in a different direction, and I'm okay with that because I finished it. For a long time, I didn't do videos of the stuff that I was working on because it was like they were like this. They were unfinished pieces. And then, I watched enough live streams and talked to enough people that I realized that, just sharing little things like this can inspire somebody else to maybe work on a scrap project or to share something that maybe isn't completely finished. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing to encourage somebody else to play. So many of my commissions I can't share because they have personal, people's photos in them and they don't want them shared. So I do videos of them just in case. And some people let me share them, but sometimes they don't. So I want to get going on some projects that don't have those in them that I can share, finished projects. Finished handmade books, not junk journals. Finished handmade books. So we are supposed to be having the heat finally coming to California, and I don't know if I'm ready for it. The older I get, the less I do well with the heat. I can remember as a kid being out in the sun all day long and not being able to get enough of it, but whew, nowadays not so much. The AC runs all the time. Committing to the videos is a great way to get things done. So that's true. Like this one, I was prepped for this. I had my, needles threaded. I had my setup already, and that's probably a good idea, is just to commit to some of the things on the videos. And that's probably my next big step, is to commit to showing on a video me not finishing something. Because I always think I need to show a finished project, which is why like the make-aheads are these short little things that are done. But maybe I should practice doing some more unfinished projects online. Trying to catch up with, oh, Georgia, the other side next. Ouch. It's really hard. I had a shoulder injury about 1.5 years ago, and it took about 1 year to heal, but luckily I was able to avoid the surgery. The make-aheads are fun. I'm glad you like them, Laura. I do too, but I realize I probably have way more than I'm going to use, so these will probably go in my shop as well. Some of these in different stages. Then I probably do a lot of my printable. I have so many things. When we bought the laser printer, my goodness, I spent days just printing everything in sight because I just couldn't get enough of it. So I'm going to probably sell off a lot of that stuff. Live on the beach in Wales. Oh my goodness. How wonderful, Karen. That's true, Liz. That's true. I think when I first started doing videos, I didn't feel like I had any authority. And I thought, well, people just want to see people with authority. They want to see, does she know what she's talking about? Now I realize it's really more the sense of community. That's the important thing, is a sense of community. And the community doesn't care whether it's a finished project or an unfinished project. We like to see it all. And, if you don't finish it on the camera, then finish it offline and share a video, and people will catch up with you when they can. But it's all about the community. Dropping, oh, Georgia, ouch. Yeah, Catherine, the having to have a place for everything took me the longest time to get my workspace set up, especially since I work in so many different areas with paint. You know, you need a place that you can do that with the eco printing, with the fabric, with the collage. But I tell you, having my paper tower, my old entertainment center that's my paper tower, is absolutely the best thing I ever did, just to have everything organized. Even though it gets to be a gigantic mess by the end of a project, at least when I clean it up, I can, you know, get out there and see what I've got, see what I, you know, want to use up next. And I don't know, it's just more exciting to start a project when everything has already been put away and then you're starting back to it. Is it really, really cold water, Karen? We watch a lot of Acorn TV, and I'm imagining the water in Wales and imagining it being very, very cold. Liz, thank you. I am so blessed. I am so blessed to have this space. And every once in a while, my husband will laugh. He'll say, you know, remember when we bought this house and you were in tears most of the time because you thought you were just going to have to make do with, I mean, we didn't know what we were going to do for a studio space. The location that we grabbed here was absolutely perfect, but it was nothing like I imagined our place was going to be. And for the first year and a half, I had no vision whatsoever for the studio. So I am just really lucky. We had a great architect and a great contractor help me create this beautiful space. And then the sunroom is next. When they do the sunroom, I'll have a wonderful place to let my flowers dry and my eco prints dry. Yeah, quite cold, I can imagine. We watch the British shows and the Irish shows and people out on the beach and, you know, in their swim clothes. And we're thinking, my goodness, that doesn't look like, you know, a summer adventure. But I guess it's all what you get used to and what you've grown up with. I mean, I'm a California girl, even though I moved out of California for a few years. I'm a California girl, so I grew up with California summers. So I keep making knots and the silk thread just keeps unknotting. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the community, I had no idea that the YouTube community and the art community within the Facebook groups, which were an overflow from the YouTube community, would be so inspiring and encouraging to me. I've never been much of a joiner. You know, I joined my professional organizations when I was writing, but I was never much of a joiner. And I'm so much of an introvert that going out and doing things in public is really hard for me, just to, you know, get out of the house. And I mean, we go play trivia night at the local pub every week. And now it's like a big deal to me to make me get out of the house. I mean, I'm not agoraphobic, but I was close to it when I was younger. So YouTube has really changed my life with the sense of community and the people that I've gotten to know through it. Exactly, Laura. Absolutely. It's just, yeah, it kind of blows my mind. And I was telling somebody not long ago, I said, I feel about this art community and the YouTube community, I feel like I did when I first started writing, gosh, in my 20s, and I discovered there were other people that wanted to write the kind of books that I wanted to write. And I discovered my tribe, my people. And it just sort of like, wow, you know, these people all love to talk about the same things I love to talk about. They like to share their techniques. They like to support one another. And I hadn't had that for so many years that this is just, it's awesome. And then we, you know, like I said, I don't go out a whole lot. I mean, I don't need to. My kids are gone. You know, it's just my husband and I and the dog. And he works from home a lot of the time. So it's just nice to have that connection with people. So if I can't have, you know, chatting on the phone with a girlfriend for 3 hours about how the boy I liked looked at me, this is the next best thing, I guess, or this is this generational thing. I am lucky with the studio. I really am. There's a couple little tweaks that I want to do to it, but it's more for a happy place to look at, not for storage of stuff. So my renovation advice for anybody is that you don't have to do it right away. Take your time to live in your space and make sure you know what you want. You love your boring life. Yeah. Of course, that's got to be a perk of getting older, right? I have friends that are a generation or two below me, and they never stop moving. And it's great. They love it. But I'm exhausted. I mean, we go to trivia night and it's like, that's it. That's an hour and a half to 2 hours of socializing. And my husband's an introvert too. And that's enough for us. We come home, we watch the ball game, and that's, we don't want to hear any more noise. Yes. The students that you connected with. When I taught as a visiting poet, there was that same sort of a thing. There was a group of us that taught as visiting artists in the schools and in the detention centers. And there was a certain community there between the students, but also between the other artists that we would get together and because you were dealing with a special case of students. Yeah. I shouldn't say that my friends don't get it. I did in November went to a retreat that was with my former writing friends, and although there's some artists in there as well, and they got it. And it was the first time that I had shared my stuff with somebody that wasn't in this community. And that was kind of what launched things, is suddenly I had orders for stuff, and I had people that said, oh my goodness, you need to do more of these, and I want one of these, and can you do something like that? To have people understand what it is you're creating. Lori, that's a really good question. Okay. And it's I don't want to say it's a pet peeve. It's a slippery slope. Do you call yourself an artist or a crafter? And I call myself an artist, and I think my books are art. I think my journals are art. And I think that is, Catherine, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. You have a good evening too. I don't think of it as a craft. I call it an art. And I think it goes back to, are you calling your books a junk journal, or is it a handmade book? For me, it's a matter of, am I slumping in my chair when I'm telling you that I'm working on this, or am I standing up straight and proud of what I'm making? And it's not that you can't be proud of crafts, but it's a psychological thing for me. Absolutely, it's a psychological thing for me, is that it's I'm making an artist book. I'm making a handmade book. It is an art. I am an artist. So what does everybody else think? It's art? So Laura, what do you think the difference is? And why do you think, I think when we do, I don't know. I've never been able to answer the question, and it's something that I ponder a lot because, okay, I know labels are bad and we shouldn't label ourselves. And for the longest time, I just called myself a writer. I didn't want to call myself a poet, even though I was selling my poetry and my books. Some of my books were poetry, but I had a really, really hard time calling myself an artist. And I don't think I did that until I had my work on display in an art gallery for the first time. It wasn't a book. It was some of my torn paper collage and some of my other collage work. But even then, some of the feedback from some of the critics made me think, oh, I can't call myself an artist. I don't know that selling something makes a difference between an artist and a crafter. Karen, I facilitate writing for well-being classes. Oh, awesome. Art collage workshops. Yes, yes, yes. Art for writing for well-being. I am such a supporter of that. That was the sort of the attitude we took when I was teaching poetry in the detention centers, was if you can learn to write it out, you're going to feel better about your life, and maybe you'll make better decisions the next time. Online art groups are awesome. Liz, thank you so much. Good luck on your live stream. Hope you have a good turnout. Laura. Oh, Lori, that's a good way of thinking about it. Interesting. So if you guys caught that, but Laura says if you use other people's digital kits to make your book, perhaps it's a craft then. But if you hand make your papers like coffee dyeing and other things, it is art. And if you're the person making the digital papers for other people to use, then I guess it's art, because that's kind of where I'm going. Gina, you tell a real life story from your childhood or life in general with every handmade book you make. Yes, that is art. I mean, many, many years ago when my kids were little, I did a lot of the, felt Christmas ornaments and things with pine cones and quick crafts that you could do. And we would rent a table at the PTA and we would sell those things. Those were crafts. I don't feel like they were, I could make 20 of them the same in not very much time at all. So maybe that's it. It's somebody said that earlier. Yeah, Laura, you said it was in the essence of the work. Intention. Yes. Yes. What is your intention when you're making the book? I feel really bad when I see in a lot of the Facebook groups, I'll see people saying, well, I made this journal but what do you do with it? They started to make it and they didn't even know what they were going to do with it when they started it. So Tunder says, I enjoy doing journals or any crafts, but it's annoying the sale part for the sale. I don't quite get what you mean, Tunder. And I think intention, it's the same sort of thing, taking, not like racing to do 10 journals in a week. You approach the work with the idea, like this project that I have to work on this next week. A friend ordered a book for another friend, and I actually happen to know the friend this time. So it's kind of exciting. I don't know her very well, but I know her enough to be thinking about her while I'm working on the project. And it affects every choice I make with the pieces that I'm picking to go into her book. Makes you happy. You know what? We should not be doing things that don't make us happy. I feel sorry for people that have to go to work every day at a job they hate. Gina, do you do anything? Do you add anything to your book that tells the story? Do you add any kind of like background papers or anything that tell the story that you're trying to, or is it something that you're holding in your heart as you're making the creation? Which reminds me, I have a freebie about Letter from the Bookmaker that I want to put up for people. So Lori, based on what you said about, using digital kits, craft, what do you feel about scrapbook paper? Because that's one of the things that's always thrown me. A lot of people don't want to make their papers, but they're using scrapbook papers to make things. And I mean, I don't care what somebody wants to call it. I don't think that matters to the world at large. But I think it matters to us as women. I think we tend to disvalue what it is we create way too much of the time. Yeah, I worked a job I didn't like for a long time when I left Louisiana to come back to California, and I had to work in a tech job that I really disliked greatly. And I was still writing, but writing didn't pay the bills, especially in California. And my husband was, getting started on his job, and it was really hard. It was soul sucking. And I was working a 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week, sometimes, tech job. And then I was coming home to write. And then I was also teaching writing via a correspondence course. And I had no energy left for anything good. By the weekend, I was just dead all the time. I was so happy when they finally started selling off our company in bits and pieces, and I got a package and I was able to retire. I was like, that's it, I'm done. Annalise, hello. I am so happy to see you here. God, if you guys haven't seen Annalise's channel, you have to go see her beautiful fabric books that she makes. Oh, she does such beautiful work. Laura, yeah, self-esteem, therapy, it's all good. Art is good for all of that. Lori, I like that definition too. Annalise, we're talking about creativity and the difference between art and craft and basically anything else we want. We're just women chit-chatting today. Are you working on anything exciting right now? Gina, that sounds absolutely lovely. Absolutely lovely. I love the concept books. I've got some ideas for some of those that I would like to do based on stories that I never wrote, in my writing career, or stories that I wrote that never sold. Boy, like all writers, I have a giant pile of those sitting around. One of these days. Never enough hours in the day. I know, Anne. Isn't Annalee's work absolutely beautiful? And have you seen like where she does all the fabric stuff on the book covers? I just love it. And Annalise, we're probably talking, or I'm probably talking 900 miles too fast. I don't know how good your English is, but hopefully you can follow along. Threading a needle on camera. Woo! There we go. Yes, no real rules. That's what I liked about writing too, until the publishing world became kind of constrained. But I could still do what I wanted to do with my writing for myself and not worry about any rules. There are times we have to follow rules, whether it's legal rules or moral rules, but for the most part, yeah, do what makes you happy. Don't hurt anybody else. Oh, Purple Moonflower, Nancy, that is so, so hard. Wow. I admire you for doing that kind of work. I have a friend whose mother just moved into hospice care, and hats off to people that do that hard work for those of us that just can't. That is a tough job. I'm glad you have art to help kind of balance things in your life. Lori, yeah, I feel the same way as far as the DigiKits go. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. I do not use DigiKits at all in any of my work. I have never used a DigiKit, but I am working on my DigiKit designs to sell. Does that make me a hypocrite if I'm going to be designing DigiKits for sale, but I do not use the DigiKits? Or is it that my art is creating the DigiKits? That is the mental quandary I put on myself. Laura, that's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I live in hippie country here. That's exactly it, is do as you will and harm none. And don't judge. Gina, that is terrific. Yeah, that's kind of why I hesitated on my store, is that I couldn't build up any kind of stock. I had so many commissions coming in that I couldn't build up the stock. So I'm glad that your stuff is selling so fast. Valerie, you've been quiet over here. And Fez, hello. Okay, yes, it is my art. That's kind of what my husband was saying. It's mine, and I'm not a hypocrite, but I envy people that can go through life and not worry about what other people think. And you would think at my age of 61 that I would be past that, but I still worry about what other people think, and I shouldn't. It's my art. I'm creating it. I'm not hurting anybody by making it, and I'm telling other people how they can find things so they can make it too. So it should be fine, but I still. And Lori, thank you. I just needed a little psychological boost there. I appreciate it. Okay, water my throat. Laura, you're so right. I mean, and it's terrible that we do that. Or we have family members. Some people have got family members that put these judgments on us. And there was someone in my life for too long that worried because I wasn't making any money. What I did didn't matter. Whether, when I was writing, nobody's buying your writing. You need to stop writing because nobody's buying it. You're not making any money. And then when I finally sold something, well, you made some money, but you know what? The bathroom's not clean enough, or you didn't make enough money, or you didn't make the kind of money that you could be making if you were working a regular job. Fez, hello, hello, hello. So happy you are here. 20 people watching. You guys, that blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. Thank you, Karen. I like that reasoning too. Yeah. Yeah, and it's all different audiences. The people that buy my journals are not the people that are going to buy my digital kits. Ooh. Yeah, sometimes the images are just so gorgeous, you just can't let it go. You got to grab them. But I decided, you know, if I've got a million images on my computer, I should probably start doing something else with them. I used a lot of them in the past with, you know, blog posts and websites that I was designing. But yeah, now I fall down one rabbit hole after another, finding these images, and I just want to share them all with people. And then I'm thinking about recycling some of my old writing that didn't sell, snipping it up into pieces and putting it into some kits too, so we've got more things with words. Thanks, Laura. Lori, sorry. That's true. It's access to somebody that couldn't maybe buy a journal. I want to start working on some very small journals, not necessarily small size, but not a lot of intensity inside them, so that people can afford them, you know, because not everybody can afford to spend, you know, $125 on a journal, which is what my big ones are going for lately. And they still want to have a piece of something. So I'd like to find a way to do, yes, and kits. I want to do physical kits and digi-kits. Ooh, Gina, marbled paper is so beautiful. And that's a good question. I think nobody worries about what people think as much as the person that's, you know, I think the outer world probably doesn't think the same way about that person as that person is thinking about that person. I don't know. I think the people that make judgment calls like that, like whatever you're doing is not enough money, not enough fame, not enough this. There's a lack in their lives, and they're attacking the bounty in my life because there's a lack in their life. And I learned that. I did grow up enough to finally remove toxic people from my life. There are some people that just, no matter how successful you are, cannot be happy for you. Thanks, Karen. Yeah, I've got some poetry where it's some of that stuff where it's like, this is a good line, this is a good stanza, but the whole poem kind of doesn't work. But some of this could be, you know, good for digital work. So I'm going to I'm thinking maybe by June 15th, that's my mental goal, to get the Digistore up and running. Holy cow, I've been talking for an hour and a half and you guys have been hanging with me. That is amazing. Oh yeah, the handwriting thing. My handwriting sucks too. And my mom, bless her heart, my mother and my grandmother had the most beautiful handwriting. And I remember summers, my mom would make me come in the house with handwriting books and practice my handwriting, and it never, ever got any better. Absolutely never got any better. So yeah, I don't do my handwriting. However, I've been cleaning up a lot of my digital images, and a lot of them are from foreign books. So I have a lot of beautiful foreign text and some foreign, well, all kinds of ephemera. I've got some old diaries and things. And so I'm going to put a lot of those into DigiKits as well for people to use. Yeah, you're right, Laura. Sometimes if you're creative, people just don't get you. And I've been a creative mess maker my entire life. And I would say most of my family has not understood me my entire life. Neither one of my kids is into doing any of this kind of stuff. My mom and my grandmother, they pretty much indulged me, but they didn't really understand me. Bye, Gina. Thank you so, so much. Oh, give your husband a big hug from us. Thank you for the work he does. Looking forward to chatting with you again. Yeah, Vicky, it's a fine line between, you know, the stuff that I make that I can't make. Do I want to buy it or not? And I just kind of want to try and find a workaround. If I can't make it myself, then maybe I need to figure out a different way to do whatever it is I'm doing. I'm missing lace. I'm sewing this together. How come you guys didn't yell at me and tell me the lace fell off? I don't know where the lace went on that piece. Let's find a piece of lace. I've got some lace over here. Everything needs lace on top, right? Here we go. Firefighting is a hard job. Wow. We live in the mountains and fire country. We are very grateful for the firefighters that fight these fires and hopeful that we will never be in the middle of anything like that. Well, I'm just really happy to have seen so many people here on a Friday with me. I'm grateful for the conversation, the creative it's exactly the kind of conversation I wanted to have about creativity and women and the arts and this kind of stuff. These are the kind of chats that I love. So I would love to try and do this again. I will try and put a note down in my community tab if I think I'll be able to do it, you know, what day I might be able to do it again and what time frame, just so you guys could have kind of a heads up. But I'm probably going to call it quits because my throat is telling me that I need to go drink like a gallon of water, and the dog is giving me looks like she really wants to go outside. So thank you so much to everybody for coming and visiting with me today. Karen, you have 6 children. Oh my goodness. And you still have time to create. That's awesome. And I'm so glad you also have a supportive spouse. Thank you so much for joining us here. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again real soon, I hope. And I will say bye for now as soon as I can figure out how on my phone to turn the darn thing off. I don't know. Let's see. I think I just go off. Thank you, Julie. Bye, Thunder. Bye, Annalise. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.